Welcome back to the Zane Friesner YouTube channel. Well, it's been about, 5 months. I'm really terrible at taking videos. So, Saturday, I'm not working. Just thought I'd give you guys a little life update and things in general. I'm still alive. Still have the LS Swap Toyota Supra. But, man, has some things happen. So, first of all, we'll start off with me, or some small things, I guess. So, since you guys have last seen a video, I had my driveway all the way redone. If you guys follow the channel, you've seen the video of them making that pad way over there where my truck's parked. So I had another 40 foot long by 18 foot wide section done, and I had that section over there widened by 2 feet. Also, you might notice a motor right there. We'll get to that. So, the last video you guys seen was the Supra on a dyno. If you haven't watched my channel, I'll give you a little update. I have a 86.5 Toyota Supra. It had a 5.3 in it. It was 20 over, 243 heads, the LS1 intake. It had a stage 2 sloppy cam in it, or an Elgin cam. I mean, I don't remember the specs, but it was stage 2. The car made 350 wheel horsepower and 360 torque. So after I had it dynoed, I haven't filmed nothing, so we'll go into, what happened after the dyno. So, had the car tuned September of 2022. Like I said, it made 350 wheel horsepower. So nothing happened after that. A month after it was tuned, we went to a test and tune in October. I made 4 passes in the car, and even though it was tuned and made more power, it actually went slower than it previously did. The fastest I had ever been in the car was a 1384. I got it tuned. I made 4 passes. Low 14s, like 1410, 1420, were the best I could get out of the car. With the T56 in the car instead of the AR5, the gearing was higher, so it wouldn't 60 foot. It was just harder to get the car to go. So anyways, sorry. Took the car to the track, made 4 passes, and I was getting mad. And instead of, making 2 or 3 and taking a long time in between each pass, I was mad that I kept running 14s. And I was like, oh, I could do better. So I kept hot lapping it. I mean, I'd make a pass, turn around, go back. Well, the night that I took it to the track, it broke 4th gear. It broke 4th gear the night at the track. So I drove the car home, pulled the T56 out, and took it to Lashbrook Performance in Oklahoma. I ended up driving like 4 or 5 hours to take it to this guy, but Lashbrook Performance, or Lashbrook Built, is a very reputable stick shift transmission shop. Like, that's all he builds is stick shifts. So took the transmission there. It turned out I broke 4th gear, reverse gear was broke, the slides, the 3/4 slides were broke, the 2nd gear synchro was broke. So I ended up spending $1,800, and here's the transmission. I spent $1,800 and had the old transmission fully rebuilt and also upgraded. So I had a 26 spline GM input shaft put in it. They replaced the 2nd and 3rd gears because that was broken. 1st gear through 4th gear now has got new synchro slides in it. They also upgraded the slides from like a plastic slide to a billet slide. It has carbon synchro liners. They had to replace the bearings and input shaft. It also now has bronze shift fork pads and bronze shift cup bushings. So the T56, when we put it in there, it was used. I paid $1,500 for it. Had a lot of miles on it. It didn't last very long. I should have replaced it to begin with, but I didn't. So lesson learned there. So small recap. Car got tuned, took it to the track, made 4 passes, broke a couple gears in the T56, had the T56 upgraded and rebuilt. So T56 rebuilt. It was January. It happened in October that I broke it. Had it rebuilt the month of December. January, had it back in the car. It had, when the T56 was rebuilt and put back in the car, it had the street tire on it. Those, like the actual street tire. And not my radials, because I don't like my car sitting in the cold weather on the radials. So T56 rebuilt, put back in the car, had the actual street tires on there. It was January. I took the car out, and my buddy Zach had a like 3rd gen Camaro with a 383 stroker motor in it. So took it out and was putting around with him, racing him, roll raced him a couple times because the street tire wouldn't hook on the cold asphalt, Beat him a couple times. Everything was cool. Give it a month, like February, it started getting a little bit warmer. March, end of February, beginning of March, here in Kansas, it's getting a little bit warmer. So I put my street radial back on there, and I put a 410 diff in my car instead of the 358 to try to get it to 60 foot better. And so I put the diff in the car, took it out on the highway, and made like 2 passes leaving town and 1 coming back into town. Everything seemed all right. It was a lot more aggressive. I was like, cool. Bringing the car home, driving down Main Street on the way home, and it felt like I was riding the brake real hard. So I was like, oh, that's odd. So I pulled off the Main Street, pulled over, and as I got out to look at my car to see, look at my brakes or whatever, it started knocking. So shut the car off. I was in front of my friend Kale's shop, so I had him come out. We started it. It was still making 50 pounds of oil pressure, but boy, it was knocking hard. It sounded kind of like top end, but we weren't quite sure, so shut the car off. We were hoping it was maybe just a rocker, so he towed me home, towed me across town. I got home, pulled the valve covers off, and wasn't the rockers. So, all right, bottom end. Well, you can't get the oil pan off my car with the motor in the car, so we pulled the 5.3 out, pulled it apart. I'll try to put some pictures and a small video of the carnage from what we found, but it was trashed. So here's a bearing out of like rod 7, I think. So it stacked 2 of the bearings. You can see on the crank that it tore the crank up. It stacked 2 bearings, and 2 of the rods, like 7 and 8, the 2 rods farthest away from the oil pump, were darker. They were discolored, so you could tell that, they got hotter than the others. So it was like, man, what am I going to do? The 5.3, you could see also in the cylinder walls that it scored the cylinder walls, or whatever it's called, scraped them up pretty good. So the 5.3 was basically trashed. It had been bored once before, so it was going to need bored again, a new crank, probably 2 rods at least, an oiled pickup tube, a crank. So we also found a Made in Canada sticker in the oil pickup tube, which caused the damage. So after I found all that, I was like, man, do I really want to spend? Could have built a stroker motor, but it's like, man, do I really want to spend that much money on my 5.3? I've always talked about putting a 6.0 in the car, or that being the end goal. So I bought a 6.0 for the car recently, like 2 weeks ago. It's still not in the car, but there it is. So we'll go over that. So, like I said, 5.3 was trashed, so I bought a 6.0. This is an 01 6.0, but has all Gen 4 rods and pistons. It has 243 heads on it. The heads have been ported. It has a stage 4 BTR cam in it. Freshly rebuilt, like it has like literally 10 miles on it. So that's the motor that's going to be going in the Supra. Found out that the crank nose here is a little bit longer than the 5.3 one, so I had to buy a special flywheel, which is inside. So got to get that put on there, and then get the transmission bolted to the motor, and then it's ready to go in there. But yeah, bought a 6.0 for the old Supra. So just thought I'd give you guys a little update on the car, you know. So here's a short recap. Got the car dynoed, took it to the track, broke the old T56. Got a new T56 rebuilt and upgraded. Got it back. Raced my friend Zach a couple times, you know, drove the car, whatever. Found a Made in Canada sticker in the oil pickup tube on the 5.3, so it ate that. Stacked some bearings, ate the crank, blah, blah, blah. So, bought a 6.0, stage 4 BTR cam, 243 heads. They've been ported. Gonna have to get injectors. But, so, that's just a little update. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'm sorry it's been a while. Maybe I'll do better and film maybe putting the motor in the car. But anyways, thanks for watching.